What is this? Guys, I was gonna watch this video. I thought we could do whatever. I want to watch this video. Is video is it interesting? I'll watch it.
The FBI just accidentally released 11,000 Jeffrey Epstein files that they hadn't publicly put out yet, but we got access to them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to access them. Here's what that looks like. It's volume 8 of the files, but you can see right now that they've only released 7 data sets. And so myself, the guys at Jmail and the guys at DropSite, we've been investigating this. I've partnered with them to kind of look at some of these files. And they got access to volume 8 early. You would just type it in the URL. It wasn't like indexable on search, but you could just type in the specific URL and it would just come up. You could download the entire zip file, and that's what we did. We've been looking through it. I want to go over some of it because I believe some of what we've seen directly contradicts the FBI's earlier statement that, oh, there's no evidence, or we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. That's what they told us, right? They said, we've already looked through the files. You don't need to see the files back in July. Of course, all the pressure has made them now start releasing some of this stuff. And we believe that this was slated for release, but remember, they weren't going to release all the files yet. They had to hold some back. Well, we believe that these 11,000 files are part of what they held back, because clearly they aren't out, and clearly they were ready, because a lot of these are redacted. I mean, already you can see we found several files that were, once again, over 100 pages of redacted information. So it was all ready to be released. It's unclear why it wasn't. But let me caveat before we get into the material that this is a breaking story, and as such, I'm sure there's going to be some pieces of information that we are interpreting or trying to interpret live, and because of that, I want to warn you to withhold your judgment on some of this stuff until we get more evidence. I'm sure the president's going to be asked about some of this stuff. I'm sure Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, they're going to get asked about this because it is extremely damning, I think, what we see in some of this. Specifically, I want to draw your attention immediately to the 10 co-conspirators that are mentioned in some of these emails in 2019. Now, this is just alarming stuff, because prior to this, remember that all we really had was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the only people who have ever faced any charges at all. Ghislaine Maxwell, the only one who actually faced consequences, right? But in 2019, apparently there were 10 co-conspirators. Now, the people who were sending this to and from have been blacked out, but at the bottom we see that this is the Violent Crime Section, Crimes Against Human Trafficking Unit. And we can see that of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida, served grand jury subpoenas, 1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, 1 in Connecticut were served. 4 out of the 10 are outstanding, with attempts having been made. What is a wealthy businessman in Ohio? A lead is being sent to CV, and the remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. This is stunning stuff. Previously, we did not know how many co-conspirators were suspected of, or I'm not aware of anything like that. And additionally, some of the details on this are revealed later, because we see this subject line. It says co-conspirators at the top, and it says blank does not need to head out. We made contact with blank last night in New York City.
Yeah,
blank.
Yeah, but are these victims though? Why is this redacted? I thought they were pretty strict about what has to be redacted and what not.
Last night in New York, contact was made with blank, blank, and blank. By the way, I love how these potential co-conspirators are people who are being blacked out. Like, why? I thought the whole point of this was you couldn't redact people for personal information reasons or for public embarrassment. You could only redact on the basis of it being a victim, and I'm not sure how these people could possibly be victims here.
Epstein Files Transparency Act prohibits redactions, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not.
But anyways, you can see that it says attempts were...
Yo, here comes the cope. I'm gonna predict the cope, okay? This is a prediction. This was pre-censored with the earlier task to be embarrassment, all that, way back when, and now they released the documents, right, with the new censoring, and this was done previously, and it's why it's censored, and they cannot uncensor it. I'm telling you,
it's like blank and Brunel.
I'm telling you, that's the cope they're gonna come up with.
The famous who's now dead. Blank is confirmed to live in New York, was away for the holiday weekend. We did not have a good address, but an attempt was made in New York. Attempts are made to Maxwell today. Blank, you get it. Like, it's already, all the people they suspected this whole time are redacted, of course. And they say, I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. Now, that's a reference to Les Wexner, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. This is huge. We've long suspected that he was, of course, one of the co-conspirators. And obviously, the fact the FBI suspected it isn't a 100% prove confirmation. But clearly they were serving grand jury subpoenas. I mean, that must be who they're talking about, one wealthy businessman in Ohio, because later it's confirmed by this whole idea of Ohio contacting Wexner. And you can see at the bottom, this is from the FBI New York. When you get a chance, give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators. This is really
but
bad
why is
to know.
any of this censored,
And
though?
we knew as early as 2019 the right people to target, and yet our FBI, who's had evidence of this the entire time, or leads on it, has declined to prosecute, right? Because this is what the FBI now tells us. Oh, don't bother. Don't worry about it. That's what they wanted us to believe in July. Fast forward to December, we find out there's 10 guys that they knew about since like 6 years ago. You know, it's insane. Even over here, we see that in one of the lawsuits, I believe this is with Maxwell, the government actually wanted to refer to people at trial as co-conspirators of the defendant, aka Maxwell.
Yo, so tell me that the FBI is gonna flex when they find a dead assassin because of the information of a homeless person, right? They're gonna flex that, but they won't go at length on why they didn't catch 10 co-conspirators they knew about for 6 years. Ooh, I mean, bro, I make it make sense at least. Bro, at least explain it to me, because I don't get how that works.
Of a rule, and then they say Jeffrey Epstein, and then there are 2 names listed there who are going to be listed as co-conspirators. Again, who are those people? We were told that the only co-conspirator now is Maxwell, and if you don't believe that, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But back in 2020, this was a idea not just promulgated by wackos, it was promulgated by who? The FBI themselves, the Department of Justice. Look at this. Co-conspirator question transcript. This is from USA NYS. They say, question, when Jeffrey Epstein died, a lot of people asked, who's next? Is the government going to hold people who are accused of helping him recruit these girls? Are they going to hold them accountable? And then the answer is, well, I'll note that the original charges against Jeffrey Epstein contained a conspiracy charge, and we allege that there were conspirators involved. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have done what he did without the assistance of others. And I can assure you that our investigation is moving forward, except I guess not. Against everyone except for Ghislaine Maxwell, it got killed. Like, Ghislaine Maxwell was the only one who faced...
Yeah, but how's it not a priority, though? Like, let alone being done and being, like, how is this not a top priority? This is, like, an ultra mega case that people would be salivating to jump on. Like, what?
Justice, right? Except then she got moved to Club Fed, to this nice prison, right? And by the way... That a whole interesting interview we saw happen with Todd Blanchard,
yeah, I mean, no
Trump's
shit.
former defense lawyer.
Yeah, but this is scary though, because this is not just corruption. This is like fucking ultra mega corruption though. This is like ultra amount of people involved though. This is like
He got
hundreds of
grilled
people
on Meet the Press
about
about his relationship. Like, why did Ghislaine Maxwell
The
go
whole thing
to
is cooked.
this nicer prison immediately afterwards? And while he declines to comment on it, he says something very interesting.
Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanch?
So that's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have
But I think
anything
it's
to
fair
do with
say
it? Did
that
you
at
have
the
anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Ms. Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life. So the BOP is not only...
How many people suffer from that in prisons that go and get harmed or die that are normal everyday citizens? I mean, I'm guessing a pretty big percentage of people that commit crimes end up have some form of reprisal or whatever. And if you're a normal person, you get clapped. It's unfair. It's that. How come they get special treatment? Oh no! We really need to. We really come on, bro.
Only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety.
All right, so he's like, yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm not going to talk about that. But every decision lands on my desk. I mean, eventually he goes on to say that, oh, she was in so much danger. We were worried about her safety as a prisoner. I just got to say, there's a lot of concern about Ghislaine Maxwell. All of a sudden, I don't know where that came from. There's not a lot of concern about these conspirators that I guess we've swept under the rug, that we don't care about anymore since 2019. Guess we knew about them and didn't care. And what's even more concerning is our president also seems concerned with the wrong people. Like, while Todd Blanche is concerned about Ghislaine Maxwell's safety and well-being, you've got Trump concerned about...
The safety angle makes sense, but that's what they would do initially, though. Like what did they think about? What did they think? Oh, we're gonna put this person in his fucking Gen Pop or some shit like that. Fuck it, dude. Oh my God, we must protect them now. They would do this. They would know ahead of time to not do that. Like,
the people
I don't get
who are
it.
going to be unfairly implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein files, rather than worrying about how to catch the people that we obviously let go through the cracks.
The victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, you know, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him.
Let's even buck. Buddy, why is he even standing there even saying this? Buddy, by the pictures, it looked like this Bubba guy is like a fucking... Bro, he's like an envy. He's like a VIP. He has like a fucking golden card that swipe. You know, this guy's got the red carpet unrolls as he walks to the fucking spot. Like, are you kidding me?
I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats,
they have a fucking tailored fucking vest or a fucking
are asking for.
Button up trip of this guy.
They're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it, but you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago.
Now, I'll be honest, he gets off track from here, but the point he was making is that those poor, innocent, bankers who were meeting with Epstein, the poor lawyers who were meeting with Epstein, like all of Epstein's friends are just caught up in this unfortunate thing. And it's just such a reversal of...
Well, if they had been truthful from the get-go, if they actually did better overall over the years, they probably wouldn't even have to expose everything. So coincidentally, some of these guys that have nothing to do with it, they wouldn't even have to do all that. Now they have to because they're squeezed.
Reversal of what previously the DOJ and FBI believed. In fact, they believed it so much that they got a federal search warrant for the SDNY, and they got it, and part of the seizable data, part of the stuff that they commanded them to seize as part of the search warrant, which, by the way, I think you need some kind of like standard of evidence for. I'm not a lawyer, you guys can chime in. But you can't just get a search warrant without some kind of evidence that you believe there's a crime that's been committed. And part of it says evidence concerning the identity or location of co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, including blank and Ghislaine Maxwell. So again, who is blank? Well, they keep redacting the names of these co-conspirators, uncharged, remember, and now they're saying we have no evidence to charge anybody. Clearly, they had evidence for a search warrant, and it's just completely ridiculous that some of this stuff is redacted and that we're viewing the rich and powerful people who are mentioned as the victims here. Now, that's all I want to talk about for now. Remember, this is a developing story, so there's, I'm sure, going to be more evidence that comes out. I will try to keep you updated. I'm probably going to cover more of this stuff in the future because there's so much here. But I had to get this out while it was basically not public yet. I mean, I think it's eventually going to be public. When, we don't know. But you can access all of it at...
Well, exactly. Only victims supposed to be redacted. So, I mean, yes, I mean, somebody's going to take the fall for this for sure. Because, I mean, otherwise, chat, guys, I don't know how the world works. What happens, chat, if the government is supposed to do something, right? And they break the law, and they just keep doing it, they don't care. Nothing, nobody's held accountable, nobody's whatever. What happens then? Nothing? You say, oh, okay, that sucks. Will you move on? Well, impeachment, yeah, I mean, that's for the president, though. But what about, like, all other branches of the government, though, no?
Thanks. Excuse me, where's the lobby? Thanks.
That's actually a good one.